You have to go to school until you're 18.
What, so you're gonna arrest me?
If I have to.
Jude faces internet trolls, Stef gets in over her head, and another proposal? Let's break down this week's episode of The Fosters right here on What Happened. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to this week's recap of The Fosters. Today I'm talking all about Season 5, Episode 6, Welcome to the Jungler. We finally get a small storyline featuring Jude. We learn what will happen with Jesus and his school situation, and Brandon finds himself in quite the awkward night out with Grace and Courtney. So let's get this recap started. Up first, let's talk about Jude. Like, who knows where he's been hiding these last few episodes? I'm guessing off playing video games somewhere, hiding from Noah? Well, Jude, Noah, and Taylor are in Jude's room playing their video game and trying to teach Noah, since he's not really a big gamer. To give him some tips, Jude pulls up a popular YouTube gamer named Ozosick, and while watching one of his videos, he spits out some misogynistic and homophobic things, and Noah's basically like, why do you like this guy? So the trio end up making their own gaming video with Taylor and Jude on screen, and they call out Ozosick in it. Now, after uploading it, they start to get a lot of hate comments from trolls. Noah ends up taking the video down, and Jude thinks this means that they're letting the haters win. He and Taylor then decide to do another video and stream again, and they see that they're getting a lot of positive comments this time. There's also some trouble for Jude and Noah here, as Noah learns that Jude broke his promise to not play video games for a week, and Jude just thinks it doesn't matter what they do when they're not together, and Noah says it does if you lie about it. Oh, little Jude, he's learning quite a big lesson about relationships here. Trust is a big thing, even when it comes to whether or not you're playing your little video games. Next up is Mariana. She's still waiting to hear the verdict from the moms on whether she can play roller derby or not. In the meantime, she comes up with her derby name, Scariana. Well, it's bad news for Mariana, as the verdict is no when it comes to roller derby. It also ends up coming out that Mariana forged Lena's signature on her permission slip, and Callie tells Jimena, who is upset with Mariana, but ultimately helps plead Mariana's case to Lena about why roller derby would be good for her. Mariana has been struggling, obviously, to find new friends, as she has no friends at school and she wants to be part of a team, and this is a place where she feels like she is part of a team. They have her back, and also it's a group of women that look like her. And Jimena also points out that roller derby can help build confidence and give a sense of empowerment, and she's already seen all of this start to develop in Mariana. Lena agrees to talk to Stef again, and Jimena tells Mariana that she needs a real signed permission slip this time, and if Mariana does end up making the team, she's gonna have to sit out at least one or more games, and Mariana is totally cool with that. Now let's head over to Callie. She takes Aaron to Sean's meeting about how to plan to protest against this political speaker who's coming to the school, Shiloh McCullen. McCullen has done things like referring to immigrants as third world trash and said that people of color have contributed nothing to society. And Sean and his group do not want this person on campus, saying that if the school won't block her hateful speech, we will. Aaron asks Callie if she actually agrees with everything that's being said, and she says she does, and then she says to Aaron, you don't, and Aaron says no. So it makes things a little awkward when Callie introduces Aaron to Sean and Jimena. I mean, things get tense, and they obviously do not agree on how to handle this whole situation. Aaron is for standing up for what you believe in and free speech, but he thinks the best way to fight hate is to confront the hater, get them to debate publicly so they can expose their ignorance. They continue to go back and forth on the right way to handle it all, and later Callie and Aaron, when they're studying together, Callie gets a text from Jimena asking if she's, coming to the civil disobedience training class the next day, while they'll learn how to protest peacefully. Side note, how cute is it that Callie's phone wallpaper is Mariana and Jude? The face Jude is making is so great. Anyway, Callie invites Aaron, and Aaron passes, but tells Callie to be careful because protests can turn violent, and Sean and his group aren't necessarily the most level-headed people on campus. Another argument ensues as they discuss racial profiling and white male privilege and everything, and Aaron asks Callie if she thinks he's hiding something being transgender. Callie says she didn't mean it like that, but people look at him a certain way because they think he is a white male, but have no idea what he's been through, which is why Aaron says that these things really need to be talked about, not just flat out protested. Aaron then tells Callie to be careful about how she stands up for things because after Kyle and Diamond, things, can get out of hand, and Callie says she's not ashamed for standing up for both of them, and she's not breaking the law or putting herself in danger this time. She's just peacefully protesting. Well, it seems like Callie doesn't really know much about how these peaceful protests work. At the class the next day, Sean mentions they need to be prepared and have numbers of people to call for who can bail them out of jail. And Callie is like, wait, there's a chance we could be arrested. Sean tells her there's more than a chance. It's actually the goal, because being arrested means drawing more attention to the cause. Then Jimena turns to Callie and asks if she's okay. So, well, yeah, now Callie is kind of getting a wake-up call and is going to have to struggle to decide if this is something she really wants to fight for, because we all know Callie's history, and another arrest, no matter what it's for, is not going to look good for her and her record. Now for a more awkward but yet fun storyline in a sense, Brandon. Poor Brandon really has himself in a pickle when it comes to these two beautiful women that he's, in the middle of, Courtney and Grace. Grace tells Brandon she wants to meet Courtney, so they invite her to an open mic night that they're playing at, and as you guessed, it's a little kind of awkward. It's a small open mic night at a coffee shop that features quite an interesting group of performers, and to help ease the tension after the girls learn that Brandon really isn't telling either of them anything because Grace, has helped babysit Mason, but Courtney has no idea, Courtney breaks out a bottle of wine, and Grace says, I only want a little bit because I'm a lightweight. Brandon and Grace get up on stage, and Grace throws out another awful yet hilarious name for the duo, Grand and Ole Opry, and the two perform and obviously sound amazing together.
No, 'cause when you smile, I lose perspective of time from the fact that you're mine.
After they're done though, there's still time left in the open mic night, so the host asks if anyone else wants to perform, and then he picks Courtney and just says, you look like you have talent. Now Courtney is not going up there alone, so she gets Brandon to go with her, and the two perform the only song that they both know, Shirley Temple's Animal Crackers and My Soup song. And they actually kind of sound pretty good together, and Grace seems to think so too, as she decides, let's just break out some more wine, and she keeps drinking, so much so that she is wasted when she leaves the place.
You guys sounded so good together.
Well, so did we. We sounded good together.
You sounded great together. Really? Okay.
When Courtney and Brandon get back home, Brandon thanks Courtney for helping with Grace, and Courtney says she gets why Grace wanted to meet her, and then points out that Grace seems pretty young. Brandon explains Grace is actually a little sheltered, but is a year older, and Courtney says Brandon is often too mature sometimes, so Grace is actually a really good fit for him. Looks like Courtney is giving her seal of approval of Grace and is moving on, which I'm actually going to get to in a second, but I'm pretty sure most of you already know where this is going with Courtney. Now before I get to Stef and what she's up to with her case, let's talk about Jesus, Emma, Gabe, and Anna. Lena and Stef tell Jesus he can't drop out of school because it's illegal in California, so the only way to carry out his plan is to pass a proficiency test, which Jesus is like, okay, let's do it. Jesus then goes to talk to Gabe out in the backyard when Mason comes running out, kind of getting into trouble, and Gabe gives Mason a donut and Courtney thanks him, and yep, there's definitely kind of some flirtation going on there. Jesus then goes back to talking about how he has this plan, he wants to make a business with Gabe, and Gabe is basically like, hey, don't make the same mistakes I did. I had to get my GED because I was basically in jail. I have a lot of regrets. Jesus then brings up Anna, asking if Gabe has any regrets related to her, and if he still has feelings for her, and if maybe they could get back together. Now Gabe, he's like, she's with Mike, but like obviously Anna was his first love, and he does wish that things could have gone differently, but it's too late and he doesn't want to carry around all this regret. Well, unfortunately, this is all put into Jesus' mind that Gabe and Anna could get back together. At school, AJ spills the beans to Brandon about Mike and Anna being engaged, and Anna is supposed to go over to the house later with the intention of telling the twins that she's engaged. When she does, though, she stops to talk to Gabe before going in, and Jesus sees this, kind of lights up, so when Anna walks in, he catches her off guard by asking if she still has feelings for Gabe because Gabe still thinks about her, and Anna's like, well, how do you know this? And Jesus tells her that Gabe told me you were the only woman he ever loved. Mariana then walks in, and Anna's kind of still thrown off and rattled that she doesn't tell them about the engagement and just says she came over to say hi. Later, when Jesus is in Mariana's room, Brandon comes in asking if Anna told them about the engagement, and they're kind of like, what? Mariana's happy for it, but Jesus is like, why didn't Anna tell us earlier? Maybe it's because of what I said to her, and Mariana's like, well, what did you say? Jesus tells Mariana what he said, and Mariana's like, just because they were first loves doesn't mean they should be together. It's actually pretty rare for someone to marry their first love. And Mariana says, I want to have lots of loves before getting married, and Jesus is like, I don't. We obviously know the one love that he wants. The next day, after taking his proficiency test, Jesus talks with Emma, and they both end up saying sorry yet again. Emma just wants to be supportive of Jesus, but it seems like she's still not on board with this whole, GED thing. Jesus tells Emma about his proficiency test, and then he gives Emma a ring that Gabe helped him make as a promise ring because he doesn't want to have any regrets in life, and he knows Emma is the one for him and wants to spend the rest of his life with her. Now, Emma's caught off guard since, of course, they're only 16, and Emma basically says that, so much can happen in the next, phase of their life, so much change. She wants to change and grow. She's going to go off to college. And Jesus is like, I can go wherever you go because construction is everywhere. We can do everything together. This causes Emma to finally reveal why Jesus dropping out of school bugs her so much. Education is something that's extremely important to her, and she can't see herself marrying someone who is willfully throwing that away. Well, it looks like Jesus' mind is now changed because he goes home in a better mood, telling Lena he's not dropping out of school, he'll get assessed, he'll get a babysitter, whatever it takes, because Emma won't marry him if he drops out. And poor Lena's just standing there real confused because all she I feel like heard was, Emma won't marry me. So it's like, what? Did he propose? What is my 16-year-old son doing now? So something else that deals with this whole Gabe Anna storyline, obviously, there's a point when Brandon goes to find Courtney to invite her to the open mic night, and he hears voices. So he looks out the garage window and sees Gabe and Anna talking, and Anna's crying. Gabe gives her a hug. So this kind of puts it in his mind with what Jesus also said, that maybe there's something going on with Gabe and Anna, and Brandon's obviously kind of like looking out for Mike, so he's like, well, it's actually not the case that Gabe and Anna are having any kind of romantic feelings. It's actually just them probably discussing what Jesus had said and getting closure. Brandon ends up taking the trash out later in this episode, and he once again hears voices in the alley, giggling. He looks through the fence and sees Gabe kissing a dark-haired woman and talking to her, and he thinks, oh no, this has to be Anna, right? So he busts the gate open, and surprise,
Hey.
so yeah, Courtney is over Brandon, moving on to Gabe the DILF. And I mean, come on, no one's actually shocked here, right? I'm pretty sure people picked up on some kind of attraction as soon as Gabe and Courtney met. Okay, so let's move on to the last storyline to discuss now, Stef and her child pornography case. The thumb drive she got from Josh has helped her track down one of the boys in the videos who gave them the name of the guy who made the videos, so he's on his way in to get interrogated. Meanwhile, Callie gets a call that Kyle is out of jail, so she and Aaron go to visit him. Now, it took a while for Kyle to get released because they had to wait to see if he'd be retried again. Now, Callie says, can't you sue? And Kyle's like, we can, but no way, I'm going to lay low, maybe get out of town, get this teardrop tattoo removed, all this kind of stuff. Callie then asks Kyle why he wanted her to believe that he killed Martha. Now, Kyle apologizes for what he said at the prison and says that he had just given up on himself, so he wanted Callie to give up on him too. Callie then goes to Stef and tells her that Kyle is scared and won't basically leave the house because he thinks Detective Gray is going to come after him. Callie's mad that Detective Gray is probably getting away with everything, and Stef tells Callie that she's trying to make sure he doesn't. Stef has interrogated the man that was brought in, and he wrote down some names on a piece of paper of the men he shared tapes with. But was Patrick Malloy's name on it or not? Not sure, but Stef enlists Kyle to help her get Patrick by wearing a wire and trying to get him to confess what happened. Kyle doesn't want to make any trouble, so he doesn't want to do it, but he ultimately agrees. Kyle goes and sits outside Patrick's house, and when Patrick comes home, Kyle says he wants to ask him why he didn't testify at the trial about how Kyle was actually at the Boys and Girls Club that night watching the Clippers game. Patrick says he doesn't remember any of this, that's why he didn't testify, but Kyle points out that Patrick was actually there and wanted him to watch the game with him alone, and then asks if Detective Gray offered him a deal to not say anything. He isn't mad, he just wants the truth. Well, unlucky for Stef and Kyle, Patrick isn't falling for their trap, and he tells Kyle if he comes around again, he'll call the cops or even Detective Gray himself. Stef then tells Kyle when she's taking him home that they'll get Malloy and Gray, and Kyle says that he never should have done this. She has nothing on them. How can she promise that? Stef's really digging herself in a hole here. Alright, so that was actually a lot of storylines, I feel like, for one episode. We're now left with Callie at a crossroads because she can't really afford to get arrested again, but will it stop her from standing up for what she thinks is right? Gabe and Courtney are a thing now, it seems like. It's going to be real awkward for Brandon. Jesus is going back to school, but only because it's what Emma wants and he thinks they're going to get married. And I like seeing Jesus kind of happy and that light in his eyes again, But this is something that's kind of gonna blow up and something that someone needs to really sit him down and explain what most likely will happen, that a happy ending is not really probable. I'm happy that Mariana is actually finding her place, so fingers crossed that Stef says yes to this roller derby thing. And also, what's going on with this whole thing with Anchor Beach turning private or not, and Drew? I mean, we haven't really seen anything with that in the last few episodes, and I know that problem did not go away that easily. And well, I guess I can answer my own question here because I looked at the synopsis for the 8th episode, and that is actually going to come back up. But before we can get to that, we have the 7th episode to look forward to, so let's roll the promo for that.
Now that I have kids of my own, thank you for just being a really good dad.
I'm not like you. You're so sure of yourself.
You're the most important thing to me. I don't think that's the kind of boyfriend I want.
Just because he's trans, that would never stop me from seeing him.
All I need to know is who I am and what I want right now.
Okay, it is now time to hit me up in the comments down below or on my socials. What do you think Callie is going to end up doing? Are you more on the side of Sean and Himena about peaceful protesting, or Aaron when it comes to handling the situation? How is Brandon and the rest of the family gonna handle Courtney and Gabe? So many things that could happen. Also, leave me your favorite and worst moments from this episode. Then you can click right over here to check out this week's recaps of Teen Wolf and Shadowhunters, and hit that little thumbs up if you like what you see. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Lisa. I'll see you next time.